Hello chess enthusiasts, my name is Miha and welcome to my chessrealm YouTube channel. So, Levitov Chess week tournament has recently ended. Ne2 Nxe2 by the way, and let's go to the 11th round duel between Viswanathan and Shakhriyar Mamedyarov. It was a rapid game. Viswanathan had white pieces and he started with e4, e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to b5, and knight from g goes to e7. And we have Ruy Lopez, and this knight from g to e7 move is classified as Qxe2 defense and is quite rarely played. Knight goes to c3, knight to g6, and now h4, preparing very unpleasant h5 pawn push. So first, black plays knight to d4, attacking the bishop. Bishop goes to c4, and now h5, preventing h-pawn from advancing. White continues with knight goes to g5. Bishop to f7 is a serious threat, so maybe knight to e6 defending would be a very solid defense move, but black has decided to play d5. A very tricky move. Black sacrifices the d pawn but opens diagonal for his light square bishop. So white is preparing his 8th move, and already a very complicated position has arisen. Black has this bishop to g4 move at his disposal. For the defense of the queen, white needs both knight on c3 and bishop on c4. Otherwise, white can defend only with f3, further weakening his kingside pawn structure, and pawn on h4, the only defender of the knight on g5 is still at stake. Black can sacrifice the knight here and later grab the knight on g5. So anyway, a very sharp and very double-edged position. The correct continuation, however, would be knight captures on d5. After knight to d5, black would probably play knight to h4. Rook cannot capture immediately because knight on g5 falls. So first, after d3, protecting the knight with bishop. Now black would probably capture pawn on g2, check. After king f1, knight would go to f4, the only escape square. And because of this knight on d5, knight on f4 is twice attacked, and this h5 pawn also, so white easily gains the pawn back and has a good position. This is just one of the variations, but I cannot go through all of them since it is a very sharp game. In the game, however, white captures pawn on d5 with bishop, still targeting this pawn on f7. Black plays bishop to g4, attacking the queen. f3 is now the only defense, but first white plays bishop captures pawn on f7, check. And white also attacks the knight on g6. If king would go to e7, he could be checked with knight to d5. So in the game, king goes to d7. Now f3, and black continues with knight captures pawn on h4. Defender of the knight on g5 is gone, so white plays d3, defending the knight with bishop. Knight captures pawn on g2, check. King goes to f1, knight to f4. Bishop doesn't protect the knight on g5 anymore, and this knight on g5 doesn't have anywhere to go. All squares are taken, and h3 square is attacked 2 times. So white has no other options but to capture knight on f4 with bishop, and this is what happened. E-pawn recaptures. Knight can go to h3 now, but then pawn on f3 would be twice attacked, once defended. So first, knight to e2 was played, trying to remove this unpleasant knight on d4. Black says, okay, let's trade some material. Knight captures on e2. Queen recaptures, queen captures knight on g5, and f-pawn captures bishop on g4. So material is equal, but position is not. Black definitely wants to capture this pawn on g4. Unfortunately for him, rook on h8 is not protected. So maybe f3 would be a totally solid option. After f3, queen is under attack. If queen captures pawn on h3, then if queen captures pawn on f3, then h-pawn captures on g4. attacking the queen, and also rook here on h8. If white would play queen to g2, still trying to protect the rook and keeping the queen, then probably bishop will go to c5. Rook to f8, pinning the bishop is a very serious threat. So maybe after bishop to c4, then rook captures on h1, queen recaptures, rook to f8 check. Well, king, let's say, has two options. Both are losing. Let's say after king to g2, queen to d2, check, king to g3, queen to f4, king to g2, and queen to f2, checkmate. There are other variations, but in all of them, white is lost. Okay, let's go back to our game. In the game, bishop to c5 was played immediately. Now g-pawn captures on h5. King goes to e7, attacking the bishop, but white doesn't remove the bishop and plays d4. Counter-attack on the bishop on c5, also opening diagonal for the queen. Well, black captures bishop on f7, then queen to c4 check. White recaptures bishop, puts the queen into the game, and the position is suddenly equal. So in the game, bishop captures on d4 was played, and here white should continue counter-attack on the bishop with rook to d1. Well, d file is open, maybe white could hope for some counterplay. Of course, with rook from a to d8 defending, black would still have a strong attack. Anyway, in the game, bishop goes back to b3. White has a clear intention to play queen to c4, preparing to harass black king. But white has forgotten that now f-file is more clear, and black is on the move and plays f3, attacking the queen. Well, if white would respond with queen to c4, then queen to g2, check, king to e1, bishop to f2, check. I think he has, let's say, two options. Let's see, after king to d2, rook from a to d8, check, king to c3, bishop to e1, check, rook captures on e1, queen to d2 is checkmate. There are some other minor sub-variations, but in all of them, king gets mated. So in the game, queen to h2 was played. Bishop goes to b6, and now queen to h3, threatening with queen to e6. That would be mate in a couple of moves. So black responds with rook to h6, protecting this e6 square. Now rook goes to d1, rook to d8. If rook captures on d8, then queen to c1, rook d1, queen to c1 is checkmate. So in the game, c3 was played, defending rook, but still rook captures on d1, bishop recaptures on d1, and now queen to c2. There isn't much white can do here. Queen to f2 or queen d1 is checkmate. If white plays queen captures pawn on f3, then rook to f6 wins decisive material, and moreover it's mate in 11 moves, but I'll leave it for you to find it. Anyway, in this position, Viswanathan resigned the game. So I hope you like this game, I hope you have learned something from it. If you have any questions, my email is below in the description. Of course, I invite you to visit my Instagram page. That's it for now, and see you soon.